Hey everybody, Charles Morgan from Comic Week, and I'm at Alpha Comics with Brianna. What did you do with Brianna?
I didn't do anything with her. It's what happened to me for 3 weeks. What did she do?
Right, I think she took all your powers.
She was she more redheaded for a little while?
Well, she told me that she had found you naked in a burning field, and you didn't have any memory of where you had come from, but now you're back to normal.
Normal.
Well, it is a comic book show.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, this is Norman Krumenacker, and of course we're at Alpha Comics, and we got a ton of stuff to go over this week. This is a special hat edition.
It is.
Of New Comic Book Day. Norman, why don't you start it off and show me some things that you're looking at?
So this one grabbed me. I'm originally from Pennsylvania. Vampire PA is a new one-shot from American Mythology Productions. A lot of their things are interesting or weird enough that they grab my attention. This one, flipping through it, kind of has that desperate, sad sensibility that the Rust Belt has.
Sort of a little Scranton vibe going on.
Yeah, a little lazy Scranton. So that one grabbed me. And then Road of Bones. I've written reviews about the first two. I think it is a phenomenal work. It's very different pacing than a lot of comics, but it's kept me engaged more than a lot of other things. So I'm back. The other covers have been very busy.
Right.
This is a lot more. I mean, this is basically the scene, the very last panel in the to be continued of the last issue. So
it's very effective use of white space too, and one of the things I like about Road of Bones, not only is it like a compelling story, and you get to see places in like sort of the Siberian permafrost that you don't normally see in comics. So it's like world building from like remote, unusual places on Earth.
Somewhere you wouldn't have had occasion.
But really great layout and design. And this Cormac's art is just really good.
Phenomenal, yeah. So what about you? What are some of yours?
Well, obviously anybody who knows me knows I can't get enough of Bendis's Pearl.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Bendis is totally hosing me by making this a 12-issue maxi series instead of a full-on continuous series. But this is 11, the penultimate issue. So Pearl heads back to America after being basically given control of the San Francisco branch of her family Yakuza clan. So there's a FBI agent on her tracks. Mm-hmm. There's some twins who want her dead, and we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I do kind of like the variant cover a little bit more this week. Last week's main cover, or last issue's main cover, is that nice black cover with her in a kimono. So they have increased the quality of the covers of late. Yeah. Also, for you pervy wankers out there, there's Faithless. Boom Studios Faithless. This is the Bat Dick guy, Brian Azzarello, going all out, whole hog with Maria Lovett's fantastic and sumptuous art. So this is, the lead character is. She's got some issues. She's got some very demonic people who have an interest in her. She's, of course, a practitioner of the dark arts, and nobody around her is safe. I've read this issue. Boom gives us a little advance warning, and it is not for the squeamish.
And none of them have been, but in particular, I mean, it's kind of been a little bit of a baptism by blood, going in, and now we're hitting 11. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's also the bagged copy, which you guys have a few copies of. I'm sure if you are going to buy this, you're going to buy that. So I don't need to tell you anything about it. But it'd be interesting to see how they went up what they did last month on that.
Yeah.
So what else you got?
Little Bird, another one that I've written a review about, a couple of reviews about, I think maybe. It's just really, really fantastic storytelling. I mean, she is. It's confusing. In a couple of the issues, you don't really know what you're looking at, but it's kind of Aeon Fluxy in that way that later everything snaps into place and you realize it's not so much what you were looking at, it's where it was, or was it like a mental space or whatever.
How would you describe the art? You said Aeon Flux. I mean, it's very detailed.
It is incredibly rich and deep. And that's part of what leads you to be like, oh, wait, yep, now it's clicking. Yeah, you just have to kind of zoom out, and that takes a little bit more time.
It's almost like panel after panel of still life. And that's kind of, I think, the action sequences, like that art style doesn't lend itself to like, oh, thwack, pop. It's really...
Yeah. In fact, I hadn't thought of it that way, but it really is just kind of like we're setting a scene between what's happening.
Yeah, it's pretty gory too. So I got two more picks of this week. Ghost Tree, issue number 4. I think this is going to win an Eisner Award. I guess if it was, it would already be nominated, but I don't know. This is one of the best stories that I've read in comics in a long time. It's a sort of a it's a story about relationships and family and memory and the question of like what are our consciousnesses? Is it just a collection of memories?
Yeah,
And what are the
yeah.
power of those? It's about a man named Brandt who goes back to his family home in Japan, and he runs into the ghost of his grandfather and a tree of all these spirits that sort of convene there. And you know, there's some things going on with those ghosts, and the question is like there's this giant threat that's you know, threatening to, you know, undo everything. And it's a sentimental story, but it's got a little bit of edge to it. But at the same time, when I read this, I can't help but see, you know, if you're that kind of person who's sort of, I don't know, if you think about people in your past a lot, or you know, I think this is the kind of story that really will appeal to you, because I think it doesn't exploit that type of personality. It sort of tries to explain to you how important it is to not only have those memories, but to live in the present. So,
and that's where, for me, it really lives in the idea that, like, you know, sentimentalism is great and nostalgia is fantastic, but he has to live for the living. He can't live for those who are already gone.
Right.
And when you find yourself stuck in one moment of your life or one era of your life, you die.
yeah. So it's fantastic. This is the last issue. I can't say enough about it. It's one of the best things I've read, probably in the entire time I've ever read comics. Another thing is Matt Kent's Black Bag series is ending. I love the design of this. I'm a big fan of scouting and just getting back to memories. I mean, I remember as a kid being really hugely into scouts. This is sort of like Scouts meets the Hunger Games meets like James Bond. So a lot of the action of the series took place in the 11th issue, and so this is sort of wrapping it up. What happens after the Badges sort of achieve their goals and taking back over their organization? Do they become a force of good? There's a lot of great characters in this. The art style is fantastic. It just is something that really is calling to me. Also, the trade is not really paperback; it's hardback, which most of Kent's are. I can't recommend this enough too. So you got, like I said, Overstreet, Faithless, Pearl, Black Bags. I'm going to have a busy week. Just for the things I personally like. So we have. Let's just talk about what the hits are going to be.
Some big important things.
Yeah. So obviously you're going to have Silver Surfer Black, which has a fantastic main cover. It's got a great variant cover, and actually it probably has a retailer variant, incentive variant, I think. Gideon Falls, which we're going to have Chris Jones. He's going to do a review on that for us. Look forward to that. The second of 3 issues of original content from the IDW Usagi Yojimbo series before they start doing the color reprints.
Right.
Okay. The first issue is great. It was just really great. There's not a lot of tension to it, but it's just fun to see these characters again.
He's a great character.
Immortal Hulk 21. This is just probably the hottest series Marvel's putting out right now for good reason. It's got some of the best writing out. It's also Eisner Award nominee for Best Continuing Series. What did you think about this? This is issue 2 of Sonata.
Really like Sonata. You said it earlier. The writing comes from a place that feels very unfamiliar in comics, but it's very promising. I like what they've done with it so far. I like where they seem to be going with it. It's just another great one. The last couple of weeks we've had a number of series that have come out that are not revolutions, but are kind of doing revolutionary versions of their own thing in there.
Yeah, Sonata, I think, sold out. I think they put a second printing out. Speaking of second printing, this is actually a third printing. Black, this Silver Surfer Black has a cool cover, and this is amazing. Why wasn't this the regular color of War of the Realms?
They could have cleaned up, man.
Second printing of that.
And speaking of, they could have cleaned up.
Yeah, and then, this I don't get too. Thumbs is one of these. I'm not a fan, so take that for what it is. But I think it has some of the ugliest covers, and the second printings have been consistently using this sort of hot pink look, and they're amazing.
Could it be Thumbs because the other ones are like black or gray, and you can always see your thumbprints on that nice shiny cover afterward?
Maybe
Could
that's
it be an
why.
immersive experience?
Yeah, I guess so. It's but anyway, get the second printings of that, folks. And then King's run of Batman is going to soon come to the end, but the City of Bane storyline begins, issue 75. This is, of course, the premium glossy cardstock, which is $1 more.
I was born for premium glossy cardstock. You just inherited it.
Actually, it's $5.99. So anyway, issue 75. And then, of course, the last issue of the Uncanny X-Men's current volume, number 22, before the Powers of 10 kick off.
Yeah, it's 10 now.
Yes.
House of 10. We're going back.
So the Uncanny 10 Men are at it for one more issue. So those are the sort of the big mainstream things we got. There are some really cool Carnage-ized covers. So what do we got this week?
So Captain Marvel #8, really cool Carnage-ized cover. We also have Daredevil, looking even more devilish than usual.
That's fantastic.
It is pretty awesome. And I gotta tell you, this one looks more comic booky, like cartoony than the other ones, but this one might be my favorite, the Loki Carnage-ized, because, I don't know, when I picture Carnage, I picture true chaos, and when I picture Loki, I picture like maybe a little bit of good chaos, but I just like to see them together.
So it's a low-key Loki.
It is a low-key Loki.
Right, we got #1s this week.
There's like nothing you can do about that joke.
And that joke lingers.
Yeah, okay. So.
All right, so from Vault we have Maul #1. And you might want to pick that up. Vault actually usually puts out pretty good stuff. X Leafields. Do not expect to get Rob to sign this book. He made it quite clear he's not going to. I wish he would be a sport about it, but he's got his rights. A Wonder Woman, Come Back to Me, issue #1 from DC. It's a $4.99 copy. Young Animal has Collapser #1. That has 2 cover variants that you'll find at your local shop.
And so you know, it says Way. I know that Gerard Way is doing a bunch of stuff in here. Different Way, just in case you only see that when you're like reading a headline and not the full article.
And not to be confused with Way, the main ingredient of Yoo-hoo. Different thing.
Also different, yes.
Yeah, so Vampirella #1 from Dynamite, a new series of Vampirella. And also they put out, and I would have to get it, but they, yeah, there you go. They put out a facsimile of the first issue.
Original Vampirella.
Yeah, facsimile of the first issue, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people knew about that. And we got Jimmy Olsen. This is Matt Fraction's craziness. The Leviathan Rising had a really cool Jimmy Olsen story.
It did.
He got his groove on in it, and I can't wait to see what he does with this. This looks like it's going to be a send-up of the character, which is, you know, one of the, I would say, the D-listers of the DC universe, but if in the right hands, it could be quite funny.
I think it could be very, very interesting.
And then you got Vault, another great Vault title coming out, Resonant #1. This also has a second cover you might find at your local store. If you're fans of send-ups of Star Trek, you might want this Dark Horse release of the Orville, New Beginnings. This is a 2-shot, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, and then this is something I'm going to pick up, Blade Runner 2019. This has multiple covers. This is from Titan Comics. I like this cover, I think, the most. It's really cool. You know, Blade Runner is one of those sci-fi classics that many people don't understand. Hopefully the comics will be a little simpler to follow. But the thing that's so great about it is the fantastic set design, so I hope that carries through in the funny book.
Agreed.
So what do we got? You got some...
So graphic novel-wise, not really graphic... I mean, one, for instance, this is big. George Takei. Man, they called us enemy. Something that a lot of people should probably learn or know more about. Something that I know has kind of disappeared from a lot of curricula and cultural memory. I'm going to take myself off the soapbox now. 2 D&D supplements, which are for a young adventurer's guide, so you got to be a young adventurer. You can use these at any age, and you will. But they're very, very neat. They're kind of like D&D eyewitness books, so they're a little like kind of easier breakdown of some different things within the realms. And then
it's Overstreet week.
SDCC is coming up this week, which means the Overstreet comic book collecting price guide. And the big book. The big.
And the phone book.
Yeah.
Your comic values are not higher in the big book. They are the
they
same
are not. They
throughout.
are not. Yes, they will be the same pricing in each book. But yeah, so that's this week in comics. This is kind of that linchpin moment in the middle of the year. San Diego Comic-Con, like I said, is just starting now, or this coming week. So everything's trying to shift and grow.
So I will say from the secondary comic book market, you know, having spent the last few months looking at it, most of the auctions that we were seeing are beating Overstreet, especially in certified comics. So that means that there's a demand, an additional demand that's growing for certified comics. Of course, all a certified comic is a comic book that has been evaluated and authenticated by professional graders. That doesn't mean that your ungraded comic books aren't as nice.
Right.
So when you're looking at auctions, I would say you go to ComicLink or Heritage Auctions, one of the biggest market makers in the certified area, and you will see a lot of Silver Age, a lot of Golden Age comics beating 2018's Overstreet. So that is a sign that that segment of the market is healthy. We're seeing a lot of buzz around stories, good stories that are coming out in the modern market have led to increased prices of recent comics. Immortal Hulk's a great example. You will not find a #1 Immortal Hulk in a comic book shop at cover price, unless you go to some place where nobody shops and nobody's gone through the back bins. You still can find deals. I think that's part of the fun of searching. But we are seeing a pretty healthy comic book market.
Yeah.
You know, you may not see comic book titles selling millions of copies every month, but the audience that does exist is very enthusiastic. The print runs are in line with demand, and the stories, the good stories, are selling.
Yes, and that's, you know, Overstreet kind of sits with a plateau on prices for a lot of things. So it's still a resource like working here at Alpha I go back to, but then I compare it to other spots. I compare it to, you know, completed auctions and, you know, ad shipping and blah, blah, all the little tips. So it can be handy to have in your back pocket. It's at least something that if you've been an avid collector, you kind of know what you're looking for in here. You have a sense of how this informs what you're looking at. But absolutely things that have been CGC'd or a few months from now when different series have taken off, Eisner Award, blah, 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 blah. Some of these prices are going to be a little variable.
Yeah, but the key is that don't look at it as a Bible for prices.
Correct.
Really look at it as Cliff's notes for why certain issues might be more important, and that ultimately is like something that should guide you when you're buying, when you're trying to get into back issues. You know, you want to know why is this issue more important than that issue? Why, like, you know, because so many stories, it's the stories really. You know, if the stories fall flat, it doesn't matter when they were made. There's not going to be a demand for it. But when there's important things that develop that sort of change the culture, that's where people go back to. And then, you know, there is also the second thing is quality. People want to buy quality books that have been well taken care of. And, so I have a giveaway this week. We've been giving away, speaking of certified comics, every week we've been giving away a certified comic. You have a great chance to win. Last week I think we only had about 140 people sign up. So you have, you know, better chance to win my comic book than any other giveaway you're ever going to get. This is a 7.5 Thor 172. This is from January 1970. It doesn't look like a 7 to me. I mean, it looks really nice. I mean, it's got a little bit, I guess, the bottom a little rounded there.
That looks about as nice as I've ever seen something
you know,
rated at a 75.
you won't find one of these in your local store, and most likely in this kind of condition. It's a white to off-white, and it's just a great illustration on the cover from Jack Kirby and Bill Everett. So, you know, you can go to our Comic Week contest page for a chance of that. Anybody at Alpha Comics, you know, feel free to sign up too. I'll ship local. Also, we have people we want to thank. We now have 76 subscribers on our Comic Week YouTube channel. Far Cry, I think ComicWeek we have about 20,000 now. So
nipping at your heels.
Little baby channel.
Nipping at your heels.
But we want to thank everybody who signed up, and it looks like we're picking up about 10 or 15 people a week. Again, thank you to our fans, Miss Megan XOXOX and Tim Tom, for your comments on the Coin Week Facebook page. Thank you for liking the video. Goes to Daryl Meeks, Jarvis Gardner, D'Artagnan Bell, Kevin Howard, and Mike Murphy.
From Alpha, we had Marion Klatt. We've got David Scott Lane, Steve Lofton, Linda Redman, and Joe Green. Thank you guys again. It's always great hearing from you guys.
All right, so we'll see you in a few hours when the store opens, and have a great new comic book day, everybody.
Thanks.